Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Team Confessions, welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The story that I have for you reads like this. Good evening, Brother Nashi. I am desperately looking for assistance. If there is anyone who can help me, please let me know in the comment section. So what happened to me is that I found myself in a dark room and my boss, he was standing there. He just stood there right before me. The room was filled with smoke and I can't describe the smell, but the smell would actually make me want to vomit. There was no light that was coming in except for the small red light that kept on burning incense. My boss started to move in circles around me, yelling at me, and he was yelling at me with his language. My boss is an Indian. I stood there confused like a zombie. I felt as if my brain was going numb, and for a moment I felt frozen like those Nyope boys, and foam started to come out of my mouth. I woke up when I was outside the little room because of the fresh air, and the wife was shouting at my boss. They were both speaking in their language, which is Hindu. She was pouring me with water. That is when I came back to life. I thought that maybe it was their prayer, but I realized that this was a ritual, and from that day I lost my mind. How it all started. I was raised by a single mom, and I failed to finish my matric because of so many challenges. My dad had died and my mom suffered from a stroke a few years later. I was in grade 9 at the moment and we had no one to come and help us. A few ladies that were from church would come and help, but they would only come and help us here and there. Sometimes other neighbors would actually donate food to us, but my other siblings who were younger than me needed me to stand up and do something for them. My mom, she was wheelchair bound, and her family members never came to check up on us. One lady who was from a local church then told me that since I was the oldest one, I had to do something or else we were going to rot in poverty. That is when she introduced me to this other guy. The guy was a cool guy. He was an Indian man who had a shop in town. The shop was located in the CBD. A lot of them, they used to come and then they would buy some items that I never understood from this shop. When I started working at this shop, our life changed. Even my siblings' life, it's totally changed. I could afford to put food on the table, and when winter came, I could actually afford to buy warm clothes for my siblings. Our mother then died at the beginning of the following year, and it was nothing but a tough time for me since I was the eldest. However, no one has ever rotten in the parlor and not to be buried. Even the poorest of them will actually be buried. We didn't have any policy, and my boss came through and bought my mom a coffin, and my mom was laid to rest. Brother Nashi, life became difficult for me, so much that I had to comfort my siblings who didn't accept the passing of our only remaining parent. My little brother started to be rebellious and stopped going to school totally. He started to do the Bluetooth they would do when they cannot afford drugs, taking blood from one who would be high and injecting it into another who is not high too. I saw my brother lose his life right in front of my eyes and turned from this intelligent boy to a hopeless drug addict. I gave up on him and took care of my little sister. My wish was for her to finish school and to be someone in life. Then, a year later, customers stopped walking into our shop sales and everything just went down. That is when my boss suddenly invited me to his wife. The wife had made me Brian rice, my favorite dish, and we ate. This was not the first time that I had been invited to their place. I was part of their family, as I thought. I was then invited to enter the room, and my boss started to burn the incense. I was in the room and I could not ask any questions to everything that had happened. Everything had just happened very fast. And it went on and on for more than an hour until I was drunk. I fell down and I became unconscious. That is when I started coming out white stuff from my mouth. I felt very powerless and I wanted so badly to get out of the room, but I totally failed. I noticed that this was not okay. There was just something that was wrong with me. The next thing that happened to me is that I woke up and the wife was yelling at him as she was pouring me with a bucket full of water. She made sure that I was okay and she drove me home. The following day, I woke up and went to work. As I arrived at work, I then put my bag in the shop and I just went out to buy magwinya from this other lady. And then I don't remember what happened. The next thing, it was 5 p.m. to go home and I walk back into the shop and take my bag. My other workmates then told me that I had spent the whole day shouting and yelling around the shop outside, eating from this other refuse bin and behaving as if I was like a mad person. The spell would then leave me at around 5 p.m. and I would be normal. Every day, people who have shopped next to us were actually shocked to see me walking to work, go crazy. 5 p.m. I'll be normal when this is happening. Then there was this other lady. This lady, she was selling tomatoes. This lady, she was from Zim. And after she came to me this other day when I was busy eating from the refuse bin, that was when I saw my boss walking out of the shop. The boss was really angry. So this lady, she gave me a prophecy that I can't even remember. I have tried, Brother Nashi, by all means to try and to remember this prophecy that she gave me, but I have forgotten. At that time, that was the only day, my brother, that I can remember that I found myself eating from a dustbin because this lady, she just stood up from where she was standing, where she was selling her tomatoes, and she walked towards me and she gave me a prophecy about my life. But what pains me is that I cannot even remember. This lady, she used to stay in this other location that is next to the location where I am staying. I have tried to look for her, but some of the women that she used to sell with, they last told me that she had gone to this other area, which is in Limpopo, but she has never returned ever since. And I do not remember anything that happens. Sometimes I do wake up and I tell myself that I am going to work, but when I woke up, my brother, I can actually find myself almost getting ready to be abused by these Nyaupe boys. There was one who had actually gotten hold of me, but I overpowered him. Lucky enough, it was him only, and he didn't have any power at all, so I overpowered him. Ever since the day that people have been telling me that sometimes I go mad, I do not know where my life is headed to. As for my boss, he still allows me in the shop. He still treats me as if I am like his child. Sometimes I can even spend a week without going to work, but still my boss, he just pays me. And there are many days when I even do not remember what year it is, then my boss is still paying me. I know that he has used me for his rituals, but I just need my life back. Please help me, Brother Nashi. Yo, dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our admins. If you have any story that you want to share with us, please do not hesitate to contact us. And there is another issue which I named the Brakpan saga. This is about a man who was staying in Brakpan. This man, I was told that he has since passed away, but he has been targeting women on Facebook. You sleep with him, then boom, you have cancer. Three women have had this cancer after sleeping with this man. Two of them came to confess their thing that they did with this man. If you are living in that area around Brakpan, if you have any story, maybe you have once came across this guy. This guy, he was said to have a very big monster thing. If you have once met a man around Brakpan, you can also come and share your own story with me.